Alright, so a lot of people have asked me to make a builds video, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's get into it. So I won't really show any of these free builds here you're watching right now, because these builds are in the long guide. If you want to make them, I'll link it into the description. So I will focus into my solo builds and how to make a CS build or crime spree build. So this build here uh, was my last video's build I used. It's a really simple one with an Anarchist, with ECM Jammer and Tripmine with the flashbangs. So I always like to get Stockholm Syndrome in case I fail in the last moment or something happen and I don't get Find Death. Also, the Joker skill is really good for soloing, so you're not 24/7 being shot from behind or whatever. Also, Partners in Crime Basic, it's really good for my eyes at least, because having this movement speed 10% boost, it's not much, but it helps sometimes. And also Confident Basic, just for that intimidation range increased. Here in Enforcer, you don't really need to take Shotgun Impact, it's just useless. So I always take Shotgun CKB and sometimes close by so I can hip fire with shotguns. I also almost every time get bullseye so I can have better armor gating for Anarchist, and sometimes I don't have Transporter or Diehard, so I just get Resilience Ace for having um, the duration of flashbang effects reduced, but it will cost more points, so it's better sometimes to just get Transporter, because Die Hard isn't really useful. In Technician, I just get a Fire Trap with C4 skills. For Breakfast in Tijuana you didn't really need some drill skills since Saw can do pretty much everything alone. And Jack of all trades for having ECM Jammer and C4 at the same time. Ghost, typical ECM skills. I didn't buy ECM Specialist because I don't really had much points to spend. Um, but for the ECMs I used, I didn't really need the duration increased. In Artful Dodger, duck and cover basic with parkour basic as well, it's always good because you have more stamina and movement speed. Sometimes I also get duck and cover aced, so I also have some increased dodge chance. It sometimes helps, other times it doesn't really do much, but whatever. Second wind with optical illusions, it's really important since you don't want to be shot in much time. Uh, and Fugitive, the usual swan song with Find Death for solos. And I didn't really need to spend this point, but I don't have much to do with it. Like, accuracy isn't good for shotguns and this won't really help much, so it's whatever. So now I will tell you how I make the builds. So for online matches, Crime Spree build, you most likely will want to have Inspire, Combat Medic Basic, uh, Painkillers. It's not good for Crime Spree because even with the damage reduction you will be one shot anyways, so quick fix it's your best option. And also Combat Doctor, because first aid kits aren't good for Crime Spree, as you can imagine. And the good old Inspire. In Controller, Forced Friendship basic, Confident Aced. Also, you will need Joker basic and Partners in Crime basic. Aced, it's not a real big deal. It's not the best skill to spend points, but if you don't have anywhere else to spend your points, you can spend them here. And also you can get Stockholm Syndrome, because sometimes your crew will be into custody and you can't get out without Stockholm Syndrome, so you will lose the heist. In Enforcer, if you're going to use shotguns, then I really recommend you to make this setup here, because reload it's really good for Crime Spree, and close by basic it's also really good, so you can hip fire with your shotguns. Um, Again, if you have points enough, you can ace close by. If you're using a shotgun like Grims or Isma, so you have your magazines increased, but it's not the best thing to do. In tank, resilience ace is always good, but if you don't have much points, just go for transported basic and bullseye. Bullseye it's a must for Crime Spree, but you can also run a Crime Spree build without bullseye. I always like to use a bullseye because you have a better armor gating, so it saves me sometimes. In Technician, it really depends on the heist you're going to play, but if you're going to play a heist like FYB, First World Bank, I really recommend you to have full drill skills, so you don't have to restart it every time, and Kickstarter, even if it doesn't restart by itself, you can just use your melee and punch it. And even if it doesn't work, you have this skill here. You can fix your drills 25% faster. So if you're not playing a heist with drill, you can go for C4, so you could make this. And keep in mind, if you're going to get C4, you need Fire Trap, basic at least. Sometimes I don't use Aced version because I don't have many points left to use, but if you can, I really recommend you to get Fire Trap Aced. Also, if you're going to use medic bags, you really want to get check of all trades, so you can have C4 and medic bags at the same time. In Ghost, you will want a cover and parkour aced, so you have an increased speed. And also, if you have points, you can ace duck and cover. If not, just remove it. And also, optical illusions, it's really useful. You don't really need low blow, high value target or the professional for Crime Spree, it's kinda useless. So for the last three, Fugitive, 9 lives and Swan Song aced, it's always good. But as you can see here, I don't really have much points for Swan Song, so I might need to remove some points somewhere else, so I would probably remove here in Confident, so I can get my Swan Song aced, because with a basic you don't really have much time to run to certain objectives, yeah, and maybe revive your teammates, so with aced version it's a safer option. About the weapons, for secondary, the best option it's always Grim. A Grim shotgun has a lot of ammunition. As you can see here, you have 94 total ammo. It's really good for long runs, so I really recommend you to run Grims instead of maybe Locomotive or Judge. But if you want a harder challenge, you can go for Judge. You don't really have that much total ammo, but you can run it. If you also want to kill enemies, or you need to kill enemies, like in some heist with bosses, such as Oxton Revenge, get Flamethrower in secondary or primary at least, you'll need it. So for primary, you will want Isma or Piglet or this grenade launcher here. These three, in my eyes, are the best, since with Isma, for C4 builds, it's really good, so you can have Explosive Judge for exploding C4 with an easier way, so you can get Isma's primary to fire the enemies. If you're not using C4, you can just go for Grim, and maybe Piglet if you have ammo bags. If not, you can go for Grenade Launcher or for the Flamethrower to kill enemies. Also keep in mind, if you have some doors that need saw, you can also get a saw to drill the doors open instead of just drilling it or using C4, it's always faster. So it's pretty much it. You also don't really need any armor. You can just go for Suit. Armor won't really help much. Also, throwable Confusion Grenade is always the best option. Molotov, it's also not that bad, since you can also fire enemies with it, but Confusion Grenade it's better for rushing and do some objectives. And you also have 6 Confusion Grenades and only 3 Molotov cocktails. So I don't recommend you much to use Molotov, and also Confusion Grenade it's for free, so everyone can use it. You don't have excuse to not use it. Yeah, melee, you always want to use a taser. You can use electrical brass knuckles, or just get your buzzer. Where is it? Here. You can also use the buzzer if you have the Golden Green Casino DLC, but I always prefer electrical brass knuckles. It's always free, so it's really good. The perk deck, it's Anarchist, and if you ask me that you don't have any DLC, you can run a Rogue. It's probably the second best, I don't know. Or maybe Hacker, since you can stun enemies with it and you also have a really good dodge chance with it. So in my opinion, I would run Hacker, but maybe for the third place I would go for Rogue. I don't know. If you have Rogue maximized and you don't have Hacker maximized, then always go for Rogue. Using a non-maximized perk deck, it's not your best option. So yeah, this is how I make my builds. I don't really have much more to say. Also, I'll start streaming in Twitch soon. So if you want to watch me playing Crime Spree or Death Sentence, you can just check the link in the description. I will link it there. And